Diane Vernile and ProvinceWide, Sunday on CTV.
Tonight on ProvinceWide, doing business in China. What an Ontario Development Centre is telling Canadian entrepreneurs about tackling this Asian mega market. It is Canada's second largest trading partner. It will soon outpace the United States as having the world's largest economy, but still presents many political and cultural hurdles for the West. Understanding and doing business in China is a challenge for many Canadian entrepreneurs. Here's Prime Minister Stephen Harper on a spring trip to China, trying to drum up trade between Canada and the Asian superpower.
Canada has the resources, technological sophistication, and geostrategic positioning to complement China's economic growth strategy.
While Chinese interests are aimed at Canada's natural resources, including a controversial $15 billion takeover deal for Calgary-based oil company Nexen, Canadians doing business in China are lured by cheap labor and a massive consumer market of $1.3 billion. Helping Canadian entrepreneurs navigate the Chinese marketplace is the Laurier Executive Development Centre in Waterloo, which offers insights on how to get goods manufactured in China and how to sell products in this vast market. Annual trade between the two countries now totals over $51 billion, with China now ranking as Canada's second biggest merchandise trading partner next to the U.S. Well, one person who knows a great deal about investing in China is Richard Canton. He is the executive director at the Laurier Executive Development Center. Well, in 30 years, you worked for a long list of companies, including Goodyear, Apple, and Microsoft. Now you are teaching other people how to go into China and to invest successfully. So what are the reasons why Canadians are telling you that they want to go there in the first place?
Two separate reasons. One would be if they want to sell their product into China with the huge market that is there. And the second would be if they want to use the lower cost manufacturing facilities that are available in China to get their products made there and then bring them back to the North American market and sell them here.
So cheap labor and the fact that you have this huge consumer market. Now, it might seem very attractive to take advantage of that cheap labor, but you might be challenged by Canadians who would say, you know, is it morally right to go in there and to take advantage of that?
I guess it's an it depends answer. There will be scenarios where if you walk into a factory and there's an obvious abuse of child labor or something like that going on, I would say that's not morally acceptable. But if you actually go tour some of the larger manufacturing areas within China, and the Central Planning Committee has put a lot of effort into building the industrial infrastructure there, you will see factories that are kitchen clean, very high tech, more advanced than some of the manufacturing facilities we have here. There was an article recently about, and I haven't seen this one, but about a factory that had 50,000 employees in one area. They actually had a residential area. They have monthly common marriage ceremonies for people that meet in the factory, and it is not a case of abuse by any stretch. So there are some places where you don't want to have your products made, and then there are a lot of places where it's just as good as it is here.
Well, you say one of the most important things you need to know before you go there to do business is to understand the culture. So
Absolutely.
When you were going there doing business yourself, what did you have to learn?
I fortunately had access to some people who had been doing it for quite a while, and without that I'd have been blind and stupid. There's some cultural things that you want to recognize. We've had a lot of training of dealing with Japan and the exchange of business cards and things like that.
And the bowing.
And the bowing and the tea ceremonies and stuff. But China doesn't seem to have that good a PR campaign or something, I don't know, because it's not that much known. But yes, you absolutely have to go in there and understand that the way they look at the world is a little different. The government regulations they have are a lot more imposing on their operations than even we think we have on our operations here. The importance that they have to understanding who you are and believing that you're a good person to be dealing with before they even want to get around to talking about what's your business model.
So they're judging you, your personality, your character.
Absolutely.
How do you know if you struck a good deal?
You basically know when you haven't struck a good deal.
What happens?
You get walked out the door without a deal in your hand.
Okay.
They'll be very polite. They will host you. They will spend time with you. As the prospects of you actually getting a deal go down, you'll end up with more and more junior people in the organization. But it won't be a go-away message. It'll just be a gentle, well, it's been nice seeing you.
Okay. Do you want to be talking about your family and your hobbies, that kind of thing?
Not really. You do a little bit of that, and especially if you go out for dinners, which if you don't, it's considered not polite to tell them I'm busy tonight.
Yeah.
So yes, when you're out for dinners and things like that, very definitely you exchange personalities and personal stories. But when you're in the meetings during the day, it is all business, but it's done in a way that is respectful of each other and recognizing you're dealing with two people.
Do you want to be aggressive and drive hard for a bargain?
Can I use the word assertive instead of aggressive?
They like that.
Yeah. Well, that's what if you grew up in their world, I think it'd be easier to understand why they come at it the way they do. In Chongqing, which is where I'm spending most of my time right now, it's an area in the interior of China that has been built up by the Central Planning Committee intentionally so they can move some of the manufacturing into the interior away from the coast where the population drift has happened a lot and the salaries are going up on the coastal areas. So in Chongqing, it's an area about the size of southwestern Ontario, 37 million people.
So that's what you're competing with?
That, I mean, every day they grow, they wake up, they have 10 people every square feet they walk. I mean, they have to be assertive or they're not going to get anywhere.
Now, you're a man going into a situation like that. Are men and women treated equally?
I don't know about equally, but there's not a heavy chauvinism in the sense that in the meetings I was in, and you never know if part of it is for show, part of it is real, but I got the sense it was real, that there are women in senior positions there. In fact, the first group we had over here, the first group of 25 we had over for training on the Canadian banking system, the most senior executive in the group was a lady.
Okay.
And in fact, we didn't know this till about halfway through our session. There was a bit of resentment on her fact that we weren't according her the treatment that we should, because we had been told by the host that the person who'd been with the company the longest was the male, and that's the person we should defer to. So yeah, they definitely, I think there still is a bit of chauvinism, but so is there in our culture, and it's not a case of women are second class.
Now, your centre is teaching all of these lessons. What
Yes.
makes you different from other centres in Canada that are doing the same thing?
Well, for starters, they hired somebody like me, and not that I'm the unique difference, but they wanted a business person to run the centre. They wanted it to be about business, and our tagline is, we make you and your organization more competitive. It's not about filling your mind with academic principles. It's not about nice treatises or theories or philosophies. It's about making you more competitive. So we want our material, our approaches, our cases, our experiences to be relevant to you, to have impact in your organization, and to be timely.
And you've got an open event coming up on October 4th.
Yes, we do. We have an event coming up on doing business with China. It is based on the experiences I've had over the last few years on learning about the things that you can do that really make a mistake. It's based on having really, really professional help from an organization in Hong Kong who I have coming over here to do, she's the keynote speaker, and also two of the organizations I've worked with here that have operations in China. And I thought, you know, if I could use all this help, and I've had access to a lot of good folks, there's probably a lot of other people can benefit from it as well.
That sounds really fascinating. Richard Canton, thank you very much for coming and sharing your insights today.
Thank you.